Yes, thank you very much, Sean. And once again, a very warm welcome to all of our attendees. We want to say thank you for reaching out to us, as well as always participating in these Tuesday morning Toolbox Talks. Today's topic on incident reporting: why do we do it? How do you go about doing it? And what type of implementation system do you have to ensure that your reporting of incidents are actually happening? So we're going to take a look at your basic legal compliance, but we want to take a few notes from last week's Toolbox talk on simple safety. Remembering that a safety management system should consist of a few basic things. But what we want to check is, are we only reaching out for the minimum or basic compliance in terms of the law? Are you looking at a comprehensive safety management system? And are you reaching out for something even better, for those best practices to really improve and have a higher standard of health and safety? So really it's up to you, it's up to your company, and also up to the resources that you can promote and devote actually to your safety system that you have individually. Now, this morning on incident management or incident reporting specifically, we understand that there are different types of incidents that we would want or need to report, and each for various reasons. But sometimes we are noticing that the reporting of incidents are only happening when the individual thinks that it is important enough or serious enough to report it. Now, there are many reasons why this might happen. We have spoken to some in the industry, we've spoken to the supervisors and managers on site, we've spoken to the employees on site, and even speaking to some of the CEOs, directors, and employers who own the businesses, just chatting to them about how they view or see incidents and accidents in the company. And one of the things that we are noticing quite often is that when it is a serious incident, they generally get others involved, but they try and keep it quiet. So they go along with what the law says, but they don't want others to know why this happened or how this happened. And that is obviously because maybe a management system was not in place. One of the elements of the safety system was not being adhered to, and nobody really wants to point fingers at anyone, or nobody wants to be at blame. And really, this is not what we want to do. Reporting of incidents and accidents is not there to point fingers or to show blame towards someone. What we essentially want to do is to make it as non-confrontational and as simple as possible. So what do you want to keep in mind, especially for the reason for reporting of incidents in the first place? And at the same time, how can you go about ensuring that you are reporting the correct incidents and accidents that you are facing? Now, we do obviously want to keep everything private and confidential in our company, especially when it comes to those who are injured, their medicals, their IDs, any sort of documentation, that type of thing we do want to keep private. But what we want to do is learn from our mistakes, even within our company, if we are keeping it confidential. Now, many, as we mentioned, did not want to speak about incidents, and some were very open about their incidents. But we did know that there was a bit of lack of knowledge on how to go about reporting certain incidents. So let us take a look first at the law. If you want to know about reporting of incidents and accidents that are required by the Occupational Health and Safety Act, you just have to read Section 24 of the OSH Act. Section 25 also discusses illnesses and diseases that are faced, but basically it's very similar. There's a form that needs to be filled out and submitted to the Department of Labor. Now, incidents that fall into a category or a Section 24 category must follow the exact procedure that is outlined in Section 24 of the OSH Act. So if you are a member of FEM or the Department of Labor, where you hold your letter of good standing for compensation, there are certain documents that have to be filled in. When reporting, though, to the Department of Labor, there are an Annexure 1 document. This Annexure 1 document is a report of the actual incident that had occurred. And then you need to report it directly to the Department of Labor using the documents that are outlined either from the Department of Labor or from FEM's site. Now, for many plumbers, and I noticed quite a large percentage are working with the Department of Labor, and you will notice the WCL2 or WCL1 forms are the forms that you will need as an employer or a representative of the employer to fill and complete in order to submit it to the Department of Labor. Now, please, you must ensure you keep correct copies of all these forms to be completed. In fact, it's good practice that you download all the relevant forms that you need, either from FEM or the Department of Labor. Keep these digital, but you can keep a completed copy of these forms in your safety file and perhaps even in the vehicle for your company. Now, when we say a completed document, we don't know who is going to be injured, but there are certain mandatory information that you can put on these documents, such as your company's name, the company's registration, your compensation for occupational injuries registration number with the Department of Labor or FEM. These types of information don't really change. Your company name stays the same. The employer stays the same, your address and telephone numbers. So it would be good practice to complete all of this, and you can do that digitally with a PDF reader. Oftentimes you can fill and sign these documents, and you can keep this with a copy of your letter of good standing in your health and safety file, as well as in your company vehicles. Should something go wrong while driving, at least you have those documents in the vehicle, because most often our safety files are left on site, and between leaving the office and getting to site, we do not have a safety file with us. So maybe relook at how we design our safety files. Is it possible to have a legal compliance file that is kept in the vehicles only? And what this could have is the employees who are actually in that vehicle's IDs. This is what you will need in order to take the person to hospital. You will need the completed documents, either from FEM as well as the Department of Labor, a copy of your letter of good standing, and if at all possible, try and keep the documents relevant to the employees in the bucky. So their medicals, their next of kin information, and any forms that would be needed should an incident happen between leaving the office and arriving on site. That file can stay in the vehicle permanently. It does not need to be taken out and handed to file, since you will have the same documents on site as well. Now, what we are doing is we've got minimum compliance in terms of the law. We've got all the documents in the safety file on site or the safety file at our offices. But what we are doing is we are reaching for best practice. We are saying this could happen and we want to be prepared for it. And this is the same type of approach that we want to our entire management system when it comes to health and safety. So is this something that you can do? Is it something you may have missed out on in the past? Well, when it comes to incidents and accidents, they happen all the time. Now, if you are not prepared for what you have to do when an incident occurs, you may be caught off guard again when the same incident reappears. In other words, the main reason for reporting, recording, and ensuring that we monitor incidents and accidents is to stop the incident and accident from happening again. So we want to remind you, it's not about pointing fingers. It's not about finding blame. It's about finding the root cause of what is exposing us to the risk and making it safer for everyone. And again, we use statistics in South Africa. There's over 6,000 plumbers in South Africa. If you have one incident on your site every month, something very small, perhaps you've hurt yourself while lifting something, perhaps tools dropped and almost hurt you. Maybe it was more severe, where you've lost a limb or part of a limb or perhaps some hazardous chemical substance or biological agent was spilled. These types of incidents might have happened once on your site in a month. But if it happened to every single plumber, then in 1 month, we would have 6,000 incidents. So look at the bigger picture. What we want to do is prevent everyone from having the same incident and accident. And that is why you are encouraged to share what happened, how could it be prevented, and what is your remedial action plan? In other words, what did you put in place to prevent it from happening again? Now, you can leave out personal details, names, ID numbers. We don't need that. What we want to understand is what happened, what did you do right after the incident, what do you feel could have been done to prevent it, and what have you put in place to prevent it. This type of action or preventative maintenance as well as reactive approach is going to assist others in the industry to not allow the same thing to happen again. Now, why do we say that? Well, when you share this information with us, we then submit it to all the plumbers in the industry, as well as say other safety professionals that are in our network, and we chat to them and say, look out for this potential exposure when working with plumbers on site. And when they notice this, they can immediately stop unsafe work or an unsafe act and implement the control measure that you yourself have come up with. And this will allow us to constantly not just reinvent, but continually improve our management systems on site, both from a health and safety perspective, as well as from a plumbing perspective. So perhaps ask yourself next time an accident happens, or next time you see an accident, what can we do to prevent this? Instead of saying, who is responsible for this? Remember, it's not about finding blame. It's about finding the root cause and preventing it from happening again. So how are you going to go about actually doing this? Well, for one, you need to start with a good risk assessment. You need to identify what you will need in order to keep track of your incidents that occur. So again, it's very, very basic. All you need to understand is, what do I need to have in place? And once you have that list, put it in place. Start with the legal requirements of Section 24. Think of your risk and exposure of where you could be exposed to certain risks, and ensure you have that document or that file available at that site. Next, what is your policy and procedure for minor and first aid cases? Consider how you are going to report near misses. Now, a near miss is obviously something that could have happened, but did not cause severe injury. It was just maybe dropping of the tool. Nobody was injured. It was a near miss, and you say, well, it's a once off. Well, still report it. And how are you going to go about reporting that? Well, if you need a template, reach out to us. We do have templates for near misses, minor, first aid cases, and then obviously for your more Section 24 cases that have to be reported to the Department of Labor. But do you have a policy in place on incident reporting? Do you have a procedure, a flow chart of how is this going to be reported? And the reporting of a minor or a first aid case is going to be different from reporting of a near miss. And this will be different from reporting a Section 24. Do we have these procedures in place? And then the communication of this entire flow or the entire procedure. How are we going about communicating this continually to those who are exposed to the risks and hazards on site? So when it comes to the actual incident, whether it be a near miss, a minor, a major, or a fatal, when these things happen, we have not fulfilled our obligation to incident reporting. What we want to do is actually record and report this incident. We need to find out, who do we report it to? Is it to the Department of Labor? Is it to our management? Or is it to the employer himself? But we are still not finished with our incident reporting procedure. You see, we need to take it a step further. We must investigate what is the root cause and how can we prevent this from reoccurring. Only then are you fulfilling just the basic legal compliance. And what we encourage you to do is always take it that step further. Aim for best practice. See what you can do. Help others in the industry by reporting incidents, sharing what you've learned, and helping others to understand how they can prevent it again. So always remember, incidents and accidents are preventable, but we need to work together in it. Now, that is all for incident reporting. Why should we do it? Well, really simple. We want to stop it from happening again. But in other news, we do have the free Iopsa sponsored safety course for members only. We are speaking about Iopsa members. Please don't forget all of the members down in KZN. We are coming down to you on the 28th and 29th of April. So please, if you are an Iopsa member, you may send 2 employees free of charge for the OHS representative course. This course has been designed specifically for the plumbers. So that is why we are saying Iopsa members only. And that is because we've taken the SACWA unit standard and we've added in what a plumber might experience on his site and what a health and safety rep, aside from what section 17, 18, 19, and 20 discusses in the legislation, we've now discussed what a plumber should do to implement this very section. Then we have also designed a basic risk assessment, and we explain this to the OHS representative as well, how to go about performing a risk assessment. And then there's a very basic introductory section of the course on managing and looking after your safety file as well. So please get in contact with us if you want to send your employees on this course. You are allowed to send 2 employees free of charge. If you have additional employees, please let us know. There are discounted rates for you as an Iopsa member. And then you are going to be eligible for CPD points. This is a PIRB CPD point, and we will let you know ahead of time how many CPD points you can gain just for attending this 2-day course. So if you need any help, please reach out to us. Then something that we just wanted to mention to every single person listening in. This is the Legionella Awareness Month happening in April 2020. Legionella or Legionnaire's disease is a disease that is currently spreading phenomenally throughout the entire world. Now, if you haven't heard about it before, you can go and do your research, but we just want to encourage you, if you are someone that needs to understand Legionnaire's disease, perhaps you are someone who saves electricity by turning off their geyser at certain times or setting the temperature down in order to ensure that you are not using too much electricity. We want to be electricity savvy, and a lot of people are doing that, especially because of where we are going in the country when it comes to the power crisis at the moment. But this is leading to other problems, and Legionella is one of those issues that is raising its head. So we ask you, and please encourage you to share this with as many people as possible, homeowners, yourselves as safety professionals, yourselves as plumbing providers and contractors, and even on the floor plumbers, the guys installing the geysers. We need to understand how dangerous this type of disease is. What is it? How does it spread? How can it be prevented? And then finally, we are going to wrap up in the end of April. For Legionella, it is preventable, and we are going to give you as much information as possible on that. So we thank you. We just wanted to cut our Toolbox talk slightly shorter this morning because we do want to reach as many people as possible for the April 2020 Legionella Awareness Month. If you'd like some more information on this, please, again, get in touch with us, safety@iopsa.org or info@ohss.co.za. And please don't forget those 2 WhatsApp numbers should you want to contact us via WhatsApp. So we thank you very much for joining this Tuesday morning Toolbox Talk. We are looking forward to next week, the 10th of March, hazardous platforms. And here we're going to be looking at ladders, A-frame ladders, as well as extension ladders. And in particular, we want to mention For all of you who are allowing auditors onto your site, and for anyone climbing into ceilings or perhaps on the side of buildings using A-frame ladders and extension ladders, please tune in next week. This is a vital toolbox talk for everyone using a ladder on site to inspect or install any type of plumbing. So again, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to PRB for accrediting this with a CPD point, as well as to SIOSH for their CPD points, and to all of you for joining us this morning. We'll hand it over back to you, Sean.
All right, 100%. Thanks so much, Chris. We have just got a question from the audience, but can you please just put those WhatsApp numbers back up on screen for me? There we go.
Right, there we go. They
Perfect,
are
100%.
back up, the two bottom ones.
All right. Then the question I've got for you reads, as plumbers, we are on the road a lot. Does road travel also fall under incident reporting, or is this only for when we arrive on site?
Well, a very good question, and thank you very much for that. What we want to encourage everyone to do is report any incident that you come across. Now, when it is a road incident, perhaps you are in a accident, a bumper bashing, things like that, you should record it personally within your company, but generally that is handled by the SAP. And the South African Police Services, what they do is they monitor all incidents and accidents on public roads. When it comes to occupational injuries and diseases, then the Department of Labor gets involved. But as a company, we want your reporting structure to be consistent, whether it be public, private, or even on your client's basis. So please try and have a system in place to report all incidents and accidents. And maybe you will find that you are less likely to be in an accident on the road if there is some sort of road management plan or road travel plan that your company implements for you. I hope that answers your question. If you need to know any more, please reach out to us. Thanks, Sean.
All right, that is all of the questions I have got this morning. Chris, do you have anything else you do want to say to end off?
Just a very big thank you to everyone who has reached out to us, the continued support from the Iopsa membership base, as well as all the safety professionals out there for your continued support and guidance. We want to say that we cannot do it without you. We don't know everything, and we want to say how much we appreciate everybody's input in this, as well as yourself, Sean, for always being there on a Tuesday morning. Thank you.
All right, 100%. Thanks so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to go ahead and end the session off now. Please do see at the end of it, there will be a survey which pops up in your web browser. If you are a SAOSH or PIRB member, you can put in your membership numbers there or your registration number, and that will help us actually assign your CPD points, or rather, it will help them assign their CPD points to you quicker. All right, 100%, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and end the session off now. Thanks so much for joining us, and I'll see you again, same time next week. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.